Tangaroa is like the Maori god or deity of the ocean.
Yeah. So we kind of talk about these things as if everyone else knows about them.
Hello, you metal pilgrims, and welcome to the new episode of our interview series. Today we have a really interesting guest from all the different part of the world. I think this is the very first time we have someone from all the way from New Zealand, guys. Alien Weaponry. Guys, thank you so much for finding time and joining me today. How are you?
Good. Yeah, we're pretty good.
Pretty good.
I mean, we have just entered a lockdown, but that's just the current state of the world. So we're not going to talk about that too much, I don't think, because that gets real boring.
It is boring. How are things though? I mean, overall, do you see light at the end of the tunnel? Very briefly.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've got US tour lined up with Gojira, and we're going to be going to Europe at the start of next year.
Oh, hopefully
with them as well. So
happen.
those are going to be cool. And even in lockdown, we ourselves are actually able to get out of the country for things like that as well. So that kind of thing is going to be, I mean, a little bit juggling things and everything's up in the air, but that's kind of, we're pretty used to doing that now. So
I think after a year and a half, almost 2 years now, right? I mean, all of us are used to being, to adapting very quickly to everything, whatever life throws at us at this point. But hopefully all of this will happen and you guys will be able to hit the road, and all the other bands as well, because I always say that, and I truly believe that, real heavy metal actually lives in sweaty clubs and on festivals and not really in a digital world. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%. All right, guys. So, I mean, the hot news about Alien Weaponry is, of course, the release of your new album, Tangaroa. I might be mispronouncing this, and I'm sure you guys will correct me on that one. But that one is going to be out on September 17th. Congrats on finishing up, recording process and everything, despite any pandemics or anything going on in the world. So can you guys talk just very briefly about the creative process behind it? How was it like actually working on it? And how did it all come into this one cohesive piece we can hear today?
So I feel like for this most recent album, it was written in a much shorter time span than our first album. And our first album took probably 8 years worth of accumulated songs to.
It was a good amount
put together, and this one's probably 2 or 3 years. I feel like on this album we've definitely got a lot more progressive, more technical elements, as well as incorporating some more traditional Maori styles of doing things. I feel like we've grown a lot as people and as musicians, and it's going to be very different, but also very Alien Weaponry.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as recording it goes, a huge part of what made things a lot easier in the current climate is that we've got a home studio set up now. So we recorded all of the vocals, the guitars, the bass, all of our sound effects stuff. Pretty much everything apart from the drums was done in our home studio. So we got to kind of take our time with that, but also do it whenever we wanted to, and we weren't paying for that studio time.
That's good.
So that was a cool process to be able to work with, rather than getting into a studio and having this huge time constraint on, what you're going to be able to get out of it and the quality of what you're going to be able to get out of it. So yeah, for us, it was quite a different process, and probably sped things along as far as being stuck at home, but still being able to record.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And how do you guys usually divide, writing responsibilities at Alien Weaponry? Is it one main songwriter that you have, or do you guys all kind of brainstorm together and all of this comes out naturally?
It's mostly jamming.
Yeah, it's mix and match, really.
We have a one of those Tascam recorders, and sometimes we'll just be like, fuck, we got to write some songs. Just slap that on there. Henry will play a drum beat. I'll play some guitar stuff. Ethan, or now Tūranga, will, slap along on the bass. And obviously, there's a lot of scraps, a lot of shit we don't use because it's not the best. But, you know, when we do find something that we really like, we work on that and kind of develop it into a song.
And I mean, lyric-wise, generally the way we split things up is anything we're going to be writing in Maori is generally my lyrics, and Lewis writes a lot of the English lyrics, but we collaborate with each other on everything. So, it's kind of hard to say who really writes the most out of the band, but
it does sound like it's a mechanism that kind of works together, and out of it comes out whatever comes out. So it's a pretty cool thing. Pretty cool thing, guys. And you started speaking about the lyrical lines running through the album. So unfortunately, I only understand the couple of songs which are in English, of course. So can you guys share just the general overview of some of the lyrical lines running through the album, and what are the main themes that you guys wanted to raise?
There are a lot of different.
We should start with the title track, I guess. Yeah. Tangaroa. Obviously, that song's got our kind of half English, half Maori lyrics in it. But yeah, the Maori lyrics are talking about how we're destroying Tangaroa, and the actual lyrics translate to we're amputating the limbs of Tangaroa and Tangaroa's children. So it's talking about kind of like a reference to shark finning and just kind of like global mass fishing.
And just for context, Tangaroa is like the Maori god or deity of the ocean.
Yeah. So we kind of talk about these things as if everyone else knows about them. But of course, we've got that as our title track. We're also talking about we've got a song that's talking about a really old kind of folklore tale, which is actually involves one of our ancestors, mine and Lewis's ancestors, who was captured by a witch in the forest. And she's this kind of half woman, half bird hybrid. And so it kind of takes you through the story of what happened there. I actually wrote a haka for that song in a more kind of traditional sense of what a haka is. So yeah, we're kind of trying to incorporate more traditional styles of Maori singing and songwriting. Another song where we're doing that is Īhenga. So we've got something called a mōtiatia, which is a traditional kind of, I guess the closest thing would be like a hymn or it's like a chant, and it's generally sung to represent where you're from and who you are as a person. So it's actually about an ancestor of mine and Lewis's who explored a lot of New Zealand, and he named a lot of places in Aotearoa. And it's about him and his journeys and his expeditions and travels.
I mean, I feel like this album has, those are just a few of the themes, but like we kind of explore a whole range of different things that, they kind of relate to each other, but they don't necessarily relate to each other. A lot of the songs are more personal things that we've been through or are going through. For example, we wrote a song called Buried Underground about someone that I knew who has been in and out of the psych ward with psychosis from drug abuse. And we've seen that happen to a few people, just stuff like that. And I guess, we touch on a lot of different themes, good and bad, ugly, and everything in between.
Yeah, makes sense, totally. And do you guys intend to continue writing your native tongue mostly, or do you think that that's 50-50 in the end?
Yeah, this album is around 50-50 again, like our last album, but I don't know. We generally write in whichever language we feel like at the time. And I mean, with us being bilingual, I guess it just works out to being about 50-50 each time. But yeah, I mean, there's still room for an all Maori album in the future. I think that could be a cool idea for us. But yeah, it's really, we have no specific plans as to where we're going as far as which language we're going to continue writing in.
I'm just gonna.
We're doing what we're doing, man.
Go with the flow and see what feels right, I guess.
One of the things I absolutely loved about this album, I was able to listen to it already, is the rhythm section on it. I mean, I thought it was just simply exquisite. Seriously, I thought it just exquisite job on this one, guys. So, but going on the road, by playing such music with just 3 musicians might be a little bit hard. I assume this is just my assumption here. So do you guys ever think about expanding, your band to at least a 4th member to introduce another rhythm guitar to take the load off, some of you guys?
I don't know. I reckon 3 people makes it real easy. You've only got if one of the band members is trying to organize something, you only got 2 other people opposed to 3 other people or 4 other people to deal with. And it's, at the end of the day, I think it's like less gear, less setup, less pack down time. But I feel like
and we end up producing a pretty good sound live as well. I feel like the need for a 4th member hasn't presented itself yet. We do have the one song on this album with a guitar solo, but we have worked out a way to do that live, which I don't know if we should start saying what we're going to do. I think it'll be a surprise for whoever gets to see us live. Because that's going to be something that's really cool.
So it's more of an incentive to get your tickets.
Nice. Tūranga is just playing
emotion
there. All right, guys. All right, makes sense. And talking about the music overall, who are your main inspirations for this particular record? Do you have any bands you really look up to?
Sure. I mean, for me, Gojira, maybe a little bit of Mastodon. Ethan, I know, took a lot of his inspiration from Mastodon when he was writing these tracks. And yeah, for me, like Gojira, Meshuggah, Periphery is another band. It's that more kind of progressive technical stuff. But
yeah, for me, probably things like Gojira, obviously. Polyphia, I've been listening to a lot of Polyphia. But in North Lane, I've been getting real into Meshuggah. So I feel like we've all been listening to more proggy stuff, and not only that, I've also been really into things like drum and bass, dubstep, psytrance, all that, veering off the traditional instrumental
almost
music.
Places in a progressive category in itself. So it's like electronic music, but it still has that kind of progressive vibe to it, where it's got that ever-changing song, and they're really long songs as well.
Awesome. Tūranga, what about you?
Yeah, well, I didn't do any writing on this album other than a few snippets and vocals, but in general, my influences are Trivium, number 1, always has been. But as of a more recent, Polyphia, along with Lewis there. I mean, that Tim Henson is just madness. But Avatar, I really like Avatar's riffs in terms of like, a quote, simple, but like just good chunky riffs. I really like the way that those 2 boys write. So Avatar's my most recent inspiration.
Awesome, guys. The next one is for you to start a little brawl here, or a fight, but could you guys agree on your favorite track from the record?
Ooh, I can't pick my favorite anything, so...
favorite to play would have to be Hatupatu, probably, for me.
Titokowaru for me is a masterpiece. I love that song.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm so bad at picking favorites. Like, whenever any interviewer asks me, like, oh, what's your, top 5 albums, top 5 songs, what's your favorite song in the whole world? I'm like, dude, I don't know.
It depends what I'm feeling, bro.
Yeah,
like, one day I want to listen to a heavy, chunky track, and the other day I want to listen to a sad, sobby track. It kind of changes. But, fucking.
yeah. Where are you going with this one, Lois?
I'll probably just go with Īhenga. That shit's fun to play.
Yeah, apart from doing the vocal.
Yeah.
The vocals are incredibly difficult over actually playing the song as well. So we've set ourselves challenges with this album.
Awesome. As I said, guys, I was able to listen to the album in its entirety, and I think it's very coherent. I personally enjoyed it a lot. I listened to it several times from the very beginning to the very end, and while the tracks are rather diverse in a way, I mean, it all comes into this one piece, and you can really see it as a one piece of work, right? I mean, rather than a collective collection of rather different songs. So great job on this one once again. I personally enjoyed it a lot. This is just a little remark from myself. And you guys are usually deemed by the label, by everyone, all the press releases as a mix of thrash metal and groove metal. And while I understand that most of musicians hate putting themselves in a box or something like that, but how would you personally characterize your music? I mean, if you would have to pick a style, which one would you think you would fall under the most?
I mean, this current album is more like a groove prog kind of vibe to it. But yeah, when we started, we were playing very thrashy, kind of really almost getting to like, your classic Slayer sort of stuff. But as we've kind of grown as musicians and as a band, we have definitely leaned more towards like a prog side of things. So I don't know, like groove prog, if that's a thing.
Groovy, thrashy, prog, groove, prog, tribal. That's the genre.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people label us as te reo metal or tribal metal as well. So that's yet another category that we can fall into. So
we are whatever you want us to be.
Exactly.
Awesome, guys. Well, I just hope that you guys will make it across the ocean over here in Europe, and I'll personally catch you live and enjoy it. Because as I said before, right? I mean, real metal and real appreciation of a band comes usually from a live show. And since you guys are planning a little surprise on how to play some of the solos, I'm really eager to hear and see what you guys are up to. And just to close the conversation, especially talking about live shows and stuff like that. Can you guys share just one craziest story which happened to you as a band, on tour?
Oh boy, sheesh.
You can legally share, possibly.
There might be a few not safe for work ones there, or just generally not so savory stories. But
well,
I don't know. There's always been kind of wild times. I mean, we've every time we've ever driven through Austria, we've broken down.
So flat tire,
and like also it just happens to be in like the middle of a storm, like
always in the middle of an electrical storm
on the side of the autobahn.
Every time we've traveled from Austria to Slovenia for metal days, it happens.
Yeah, so it's just something about that. It's like
you guys bring trouble.
Just a weird tour thing for Europe. So we'll have to see if it happens next time we make that trip. But yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of weird weather stuff happen. We had a festival we were playing on get cancelled just after we played in Oklahoma for tornado warnings, and had half the stage blow apart. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like we don't really have these like really crazy tour stories like most people would expect. You know, generally it's us.
Or if we do, maybe we don't remember them well.
Yeah, that could be another thing.
That crazy.
Yeah, I mean, generally it's us inside the tour bus, which is just a giant tube of metal, and we're a bunch of guys just stinking it up. So
playing Xbox and yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean we clocked Tekken on a tour, so that was probably an achievement, I guess. That completed every possible medal in Tekken. So.
That's awesome. Awesome, guys. Well, I hope you guys will be able to hit the road again very soon, and there will be more and more stories, and they will get crazier and crazier as you guys progress. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Alien Weaponry, everyone. Do you have any other last message for the fans? Anything you want to share with them, both old and new?
We love and appreciate you guys. Please keep listening to us.
Yeah,
awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome, guys. Just as a reminder, Alien Weaponry new studio album will be out on September 17th via Napalm Records. Make sure you pick it up. It's a great one. I personally enjoyed it a lot, and I'm sure you guys will. All right. Thank you guys so much. Keep rocking.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.